Well, good evening. Good evening if you're in the UK. Happy lunchtime if you're in the States maybe. And if you're in Europe, it's further into your evening. Welcome to this week's episode, an edition, I guess, of Visibility Made Easy. Now today is a slightly different format in that I'm going to be answering your visibility questions. So if you are live and watching this right now and you want to say hello, please type in the box below and say hi. If you've got a question and you want to know an answer to a specific visibility question, then type in the box below. I have come prepared with 3 questions and it was so hard to pick the questions. But in the end, these questions come from all sorts of places, from people who want to pick brains, from the Vibers, in the lovely Vibe tribe. If you're not part of that, go up to the top of the page there and click visit the group. And also just various things that people ask me sometimes when I go and speak. And what I did in the end was I picked 3 questions that were the most commonly asked questions. So if you want to know a little bit more about how to be more visible, whether you're an absolute beginner, whether you're thinking, hey Joe, hi Celeste, I know it's all working, and Celeste has tagged some people in, which is always great to see. By the way, if you like Celeste watching this either live or on the replay and you want to invite people to join, there's a button just underneath this that says share, and if you share it, you'll be able to share it as a message, private message, share it on your timeline, or even share it as a post. And I believe it'll let you type in people's names in there as well. So that's that. Anyway, I wanted to do this as a Q&A. I used to do a Q&A every Wednesday in the Vibes Tribe group, and to be honest, I loved it. So I thought I would bring it to this page here because many of you who watch these either live or on the replay don't get to see all of these different things. So this week I've had to flip my camera so you can read what I'm sticking up behind me, and I've got some others there, not very well hidden, with my lovely plant, which has done really well in this hot weather, apart from a very strange dry patch on its leaf. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about visibility, and visibility being made easy, really easy. So I'm just going to get started really, because one of the things, if you're new to my work or wonder how I find out all this information about visibility, is actually from my own journey. So way back when I worked in financial services, and as I worked in financial services, I was a very senior training manager, but I didn't start that way. I started off with a desire, something that started off with my head, as a decision that I wanted to make to enhance my career progression. And the passion that I had for the business that I was doing was something that I really wanted to move forward. And then of course, there's no point having the thought or the idea or the dream or the wish and then just the passion. You need something which drives the car, so to speak, that moves it into motion and has momentum. So if that is you and you have got a dream, a desire, a plan, action actually helps. So many years ago, I made this decision, and very quickly I started to rise up through, for me it was financial services, through the ranks in financial services, until I became a very senior member of staff, a very senior training manager who basically reported to the board. And it's interesting because when I look back, the only reason that I didn't go for a directorship or board level was because it just wasn't something that I'd visioned or dreamed. It wasn't something that entered my awareness. I got what I needed, started my business in 2010, and then when I got 2 years into my business, I realised that the speaker training that I was providing, the presentation skills training that I was providing, helping people who were nervous about giving a presentation, actually was a vehicle to helping people become more visible. And at that moment, and this wasn't a light bulb moment that I had alone at home, it was while I was working with my own coach. In that moment, I realised that there was something really important to be able to help people to voice what isn't always visible, to put their stuff out there in the world in a way that feels comfortable to them, whether they're doing it from a stage, whether they're doing it from a screen like this on video or Facebook Live, or even if they're doing it online in their online courses or a webinar. So if you like, from the stage, from a page, from a screen, and by the way, how you share what you do online is really important. But the next piece of the puzzle was, many of the people that I work with remember things like I do. We remember print photography. Remember the dark rooms with the liquid where the picture started to appear? Now I've probably just lost people under a certain demographic, but we remember the days where we have to go to a phone box, drop lots of coins in to be able to phone somebody. And quite frankly, in that time, it wasn't usual for someone to have a phone, let alone a personal phone that they could take around with them and just pick up and dial people from anywhere in the world, let alone see them. It just wasn't a thing. In fact, microfiche was a thing. Google wasn't even invented or born. But the reason that I share all of that with you is because the light bulb moment for me is that many of us who remember those times still want to leverage our own visibility, still want to leverage what we do to the people around us so that they can find us more easily. And we don't want to become the next big thing in internet marketing, but we do want to be able to leverage what's online to enhance what we do offline, whether that's speaking, whether that's going out and networking, whether that's running groups or workshops, whether it's hosting your own events. And this is the thing that is most important to a majority of my audience. So when I talk about visibility, being seen and being heard, I'm talking about you standing out so that you are seen by the people you need to stand out by, so that you're heard and your message resonates with those people that resonate with what you do, the service you provide, the thing that you offer, the book that you've written, you know, anything like that that stands out without you having to use trickery in words or, you know, word patterns or fancy language patterns to somehow capture people into listening to what you do and buying what you do. So tonight I picked 3 questions that I wanted to answer, and of course any others that you can ask me while I'm live. So if you do have a question, start typing now. And this sort of stuff that I share really works for service-based businesses, but it also works, and by service-based businesses I mean those of you who are almost selling the invisible. So what you're doing is your product or your service isn't something that you can pick up. You can't put it in a wheelbarrow and cart it down the road because nobody will see it. But it also works really well for those of you who are selling products and services. So, you know, past clients have been people that have had fashion brands. Past clients have included people that have made products for, you know, beauty products, natural beauty products. Past clients having also included people that have sold specific things like widgets that you could hand over. And then you've got people that kind of straddle in the middle. So one person that springs to mind is our lovely Firewalker. So we have somebody in the Visibility Vibes tribe who trains firewalking. So most people won't know what that feels like unless they've done it before, and everything is different. And other people will think that they're being sold the man, the woman who comes and gives you the instruction on how to walk across hot coals, and they think that that's just the piece of it. But how do you describe the intangible stuff, the stuff that you can't see? And that's what all of this is about. So, oh, you're on the train and you're losing me. Okay, so if that's you, if you want to come back to this, then save this video and come back and do watch it on the replay. So the first thing that I get asked the most is mindset. I pose the question to anybody that joins our group, and I ask them, what's the thing when it comes to visibility that you most struggle with? And some people say nothing, but most people have something. This one comes up a lot, is mindset. So how we perceive that we do a thing or don't do a thing is actually what ends up happening. So I remember very fondly having a client who came to me back in the day when I first started and wanted to be able to publicly speak, but they got worried because every time they spoke, their neck flushed red, they felt embarrassed, they felt uncomfortable, and they just didn't enjoy the experience. So what we did was work together to be able to get them more out of their uncomfortable zone, so to speak. But here's what was really interesting. I noticed that with every conversation, they reaffirmed and cemented exactly what the problem was. it was almost like they were attached to that problem. And quite often when I work with people sort of close up and personal, whether it's in a group or whether it's one-to-one, I will, if I have their permission because I'm working with them, I will call them out on it. I won't say, ha ha, look at you, your neck's going red, but I will say, you do notice that you say this quite a lot and it reinforces it. And I do it with purpose, I do it with a reason, because when people start understanding themselves, for a lot of the people that say they've got a mindset problem, they actually don't. The problem that they have is that they focus on the thing that they can't do. They focus on the thing that they don't want. So there are a few different things that you can do to shift that. So number one is like, stop making mindset the biggest problem. That's what I would really say. There is a place where your attention might need to be shifted. So a lot of people popping in and popping out. That's absolutely fine. You don't need to let me know that. You can just save this and come back and watch a replay. Thank you so much for popping in, for those of you that have been able to. I did change the time because of my day today, which was a strange day, but all the less it was good. So here's the thing with mindset. Mindset is normally a clue to what's actually going on deep down. We think, oh no, we're scared, and therefore my mindset will reflect that, when actually your mindset reflects what's already going on deep down. Where we choose to focus this is really important. So if you're there sitting there and you're thinking, my mindset is the thing that stops me, it lets me down, it makes me scared, it does this thing, it does that thing, then have a look at where you are putting your attention. That's the only thing to do to start off with. Just notice where you're putting your attention. I had a realization recently, something for me, that there was something that I really didn't want, and there was a path that I was choosing to take, and I was all positive and I was in this momentum of moving forward, and I realized that my attention wasn't actually on the moving forward. I thought I was being cute and talking myself into it, but the momentum was on the thing that I didn't want. And this is a really common thing. So you see it a lot for those of you that are money coaches. You see it a lot with clients that are maybe on their way to debt or in debt, or struggling in some way financially. It makes it really difficult for them to stop thinking about anything other than the struggle. Hey, it's Alan. Hi, Alan. They stop thinking about anything other than the struggle, because that's where their attention is. They've got their letters coming through the door, they've got bills to pay, and their attention is always on what they haven't got, and they're finding it really difficult to switch and get out of debt. And I remember having really interesting conversations with Alan on this, because amongst many things, Alan is really great at helping people if they are in that kind of financial place where they think, if I keep going on like this, I am going to lose more money. Or they think, if I sort of carry on this way and keep on spending, then I'm going to get into trouble, and they don't really know how to stop it. So I remember fondly having these conversations with Alan about all of these kinds of things. So one of the things that was really important, I love that you're all saying hello to each other. I keep looking because I'm trying not to scroll back, because that's what keeps freezing my screen until the next update of Facebook. Every time I scroll back, then I can't scroll forward again. So I'm just keeping an eye on the comments. So there's the thing. When you say that the mindset is the thing that's stopping you, all it is that you are putting your attention and your focus on the thing that you don't want to happen more than you know. This is why I say the first antidote to this is noticing, just noticing at any given moment. So what I did in my particular circumstance that led me to realise that I was focusing on the stuff that I didn't want more than what I did want was I look at the kind of, there's two points for me, a start and an end. People say 1 to 10 or 10 to 1. My start is, am I seeing this through a lens of love? What do I mean by that? When you just feel really great, maybe there's no particular reason, but you just feel really good. You feel very happy and you just feel comfortable in your own skin. There's a text called A Course in Miracles that talks a lot about fear and love. Now, when you are in that place of love, space you're happy. Maybe you're doing your favourite thing. Maybe the sun is shining on your face. Maybe you're just not doing anything at all, but you just feel really good. And then you've got the other side of the spectrum where you're feeling really, you're in a place of fear. You might not feel frightened per se about doing the thing. Hi, Faye. So you might not feel frightened or fear as we talk about fear, but something just doesn't feel right. Somebody offers you a word and you just want to go, oh, yuck. You know, someone goes to comfort you and put their arm around you and you're like, get off. That doesn't feel good. And that's normally how we can tell we're in a place of fear. So if you would like to play this game too, for the next few days, just notice when you're in a place of fear. So you're feeling yucky. Sorry, kids outside. You know, enjoy. The sun's come out and I think they were sick of the rain all day. Notice when you're in a place of fear and notice when you're in a place of love. So when you're in a place of love, you just feel like, yeah, everything's cool. Yeah, I can do this. I feel happy. You know, nothing can sway me. Also notice how many times a day that you swing between those two. You go from one side to the other and anything in between. People often think, oh, it's 3 or 4 times a day, but it's literally multiple times an hour, and sometimes even in the space of a minute you can swing from one to another. Now the reason that this is important is you are actually just keeping a check on yourself. You are noticing when you're feeling great and good and when you're not feeling great. And mindset is very much like that. If you can start to notice when you're feeling on top of it all and notice when you're not, that is one of the most powerful starts to being able to see what might need to change. Obviously, in a Facebook Live of this length, I can't go through everything, and I will be covering this for those of you that are coming along to the live event on the 8th of September, which is all around making visibility really easy, getting you ready to be visible, but it's about it being your time to shine. And I am going to create an experience for you. So yes, there's a bit of learning, but you're not going to go away with your head full of bulging ideas and notes and things to do. But what you will do is have this immersive experience where you will experience you being at the top of your game as you define it. And you being at the top of your game as you define it allows you to stand from that place and go, oh yeah, I love this, I'm ready. It allows you to see the pieces to enhance, and it allows you to stop going, oh my gosh, I'm so bad at this, I really need to get good at that, just to enjoy the ride. So I'm really looking forward to this, and we have got some very nice things planned for you. So I'm so excited. And by the way, if you haven't got your ticket yet, the tickets will go up to £69 on the 20th of August. I have to do it that way. I did the first blast of tickets at £39, the next lot of £49. If you haven't got your ticket yet, you need to go to the event at the top of this page, as well as RSVP that you're going. You need to actually buy and pay for your ticket. I can't put tickets on the door. I can't take cash on the door. And this is going to be a fairly large event, larger than my usual kind of small and intimate events. So I'm not going to be able to be running around and taking fistfuls of money from you on the day, because I want to be in a place to give you the immersive experience that I know some of you have already experienced, but some of you are yet to experience at this level. Your time to shine. So that's enough of that. So Faye is able to come now. Yay! Really looking forward to seeing you, Faye. So that's the first thing to look at, mindset. I always talk about the head, the heart and the hands. This second one, so I'm trying not to hide it behind the plant. This was a really interesting one. So what stops you from being visible? And what stops you from being visible? Somebody said for them, it wasn't what stopped them, but it's what challenged them, the size of their audience. Now, being a specialist in this, I could be really judgmental and say, well, I find that a bit strange. But the truth of the matter is, everybody has an audience of a different size. You will have an idea of what you want the size of that audience to be, but most importantly, why? Oh, I've just seen that Franche-Lise says she wished that she could come and she can't. Oh. So, size of the audience. quite often, especially as business owners, especially when we look through either Facebook or online or offline, or even people we aspire to and admire, we see massive audiences, we see lots of watches, lots of likes, lots of interaction. And the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you show up for your audience. Now, if you're struggling with this and visibility is a challenge for you because you feel that your audience is too small, there are a few really simple things that you can do to start to get a different, kind of motion and momentum. So one of the things I see right here on Facebook is people have got a page, they've got a group, they've got people that they want to like their page and watch their stuff. All in good time. Start with one of those things and look at building it. Okay, so start with one thing and look at building it, look at getting it bigger, look at growing it. So decide whether it's going to be the group or the page. And if you're not sure between, which one that is, there's a couple of things you can do. You can either join the Vibes Tribe and ask other people of their experiences in there, or you can choose to work with me closely so that we can nail this bit for you. And I know some of you don't like long programs and things like that. There are various different ways that are shown up in the services on this page as well. So you might just want a one session where you get to ask me a question. Has to be one because I can talk fast but not that quickly to help you to implement it. I don't want you to go away feeling overwhelmed. So decide, is it the audience, is the audience size one on your page, for example? In the last month I've probably grown this page by about a couple of hundred people, which in the grand scheme of things, compared to some other people who've got like 25,000, 500,000 likes on their page, 5 or 6,000, that's different. But it's where you start from. Everybody has to start with the first like. So if you're in the lower scale of things, or you're thinking of starting a page or growing your page, have you asked all of your friends? I don't mean just invited them. Have you had a message with your Facebook friends? Have you sent them a message? Have you asked them in conversation to like your page? And have you asked them and told them why? That's the piece that is missing for many. Oh, like my page, it's called Jenny's Flowers. But that doesn't tell me why to like your page. You might tell me that Jenny's Flowers actually does home deliveries for those days where it's a friend's birthday and you forgot. That you can place an order, a delivery, as late as 12 hours before you want it to be delivered to them, and I will super speedily deliver the flowers of your choice to their address, for example. That makes more sense because now you're telling people why. So taking some examples on here, I can see Celeste and France Lise in my line of vision, so I'll pick those two. So France Lise is an osteopath by trade. However, what France Lise is also really great at doing is helping people to become pain-free. Now, I'm sure that she likely discovered this as she was working in osteopathy. However, there'll be other common denominators. So there's a lady called Louise Hay. If you're not familiar with Louise Hay, she has now passed, but she was a lady that actually started Hay House when she was 60. So for those of you that are saying, oh, but I'm too old to start something new, be on with you. What Louise Hay did over the years was when she worked with people, she noticed they came with various different physical ailments. And what she started to notice through documenting what was going on with them was that there was a common denominator for the same ailment. So if people had stomach aches, they were really frightened about moving forward. I'm trying to think of some of the other examples. If people had throat problems, I think it was something to do with expressing, whether it's tonsillitis and things. Then she started to notice if they had laryngitis, it was different from when they had tonsillitis, or different from when they had a standard sore throat, different from when they had a cold or a flu. And she started to notice these traits. And because she noticed the traits, then she also started to notice that, thank you for letting me know, she also started to notice what could be done to almost like reverse those, and in many cases to reverse it. So somebody like France Lise will have seen in her career, would have seen common patterns for people in chronic pain, common patterns for people in pain in pregnancy, common things that they either eat or do from being in pain. And I know that France Lise is like working really well with sharing those methodologies with the world, because some people, regardless of how much pain they're in, they don't want to take tablets or medication. Some people, regardless of how much pain they're in, just want to live a life where they can keep up with their family. They want to be able to eat and enjoy food, but maybe aren't realising that certain foods are making them feel really really ill or tired or full of energy or bloated, or will set the pain off. There are so many different things, and this is really France Lees' subject, but this is one that I love, and I know that she could really go through and talk about them. And France Lees is agreeing, she's saying even cancer. So and it's so true. So when you are talking about what you're doing, you will need to start letting your audience know why to come along. So saying to them, come because I help you to be pain-free, might not be enough for them. It might be come because you're probably really frustrated with being told, that it's all in your head. You're probably sick and tired of rattling around because you're taking so many tablets. And you know what? If there are people that are taking lots of tablets and happy to take those tablets, it's likely they're not going to be for France Lees. Whereas people that are sick and tired of it and they're frustrated with it and they want it to stop will be the people that will get the most most joy out of what France Lees does. So let's take Celeste. I hope I did that justice for you, France Lees. So Celeste is all about international intellectual property and about trademarking. So the thing that Celeste does with trademarks is really to help businesses feel safe. Now I know that people will say, oh, but it saves you money and stuff like that. And yes, it does underneath. But I wouldn't go to Celeste and say, I think I'm leaving money on the table. I would go to Celeste and say, okay, I'm sick and tired of somebody, or people trying to steal my intellectual property. And now I want to trademark this. I want to trademark this word. Is it possible? Because I won't know. Dave down the pub will probably tell me that it's possible, but I want to know from someone who actually knows what they're doing. So if you have devised a system, a methodology or something like that, then you would go to a trademark lawyer because you would want to know that that can't be taken from you. There's nothing more heart-wrenching, and I can't remember how long ago it was, but I did a Facebook Live about what happens when your stuff gets stolen. I've had it happen to me a number of times, and there have been times where I'm just a bit like, whatever. They'll I'll see them out. There are people that have taken my intellectual property like verbatim. I know because I've created it, so I know when someone's eating the words from my mouth. So like, what does it cause that business owner, that person to be? How does it stop people from actually even putting their stuff out there? Some people will tell me that they are worried about putting their work out there for that reason, in case it gets stolen. And this tends to come up when people talk about their online courses and things like that. So the best thing that Celeste can do when she's educating her audience is letting them know, like, the myths, not always about how they do it, because that's something that you would pay her for, but letting her know or her letting her audience know how they can combat their worries and concerns, ways that they can get their intellectual property in order, the sorts of things that you really can't trademark, even if Dave down the pub says you can, you just can't. You always get these myths and things in any industry. So that's the kind of stuff that people will need to know from you, especially if you want to grow this audience. People will not come back to you if they don't deem your information as being valuable. So, for those of you that are in the group that watch these, you'll know that I encourage things like Tuesday tips so that you can share your information. I encourage you, in fact, any day of the week, you can post and share tips and things in there, but I put a little bit of like structure in the group, because sometimes people are a bit like, I don't really know what to share. On Friday, I encourage you to celebrate yourselves, no matter how big or small it is. And again, this is a really great opportunity to celebrate what you've done. And, you can either celebrate yourself by saying, you know what, this week I had a lunch break all week and I went to bed on time and got up, without trying to get by on 3 hours sleep. I'm really pleased with that. Some people celebrate, I've finished recording all the videos for my online course. You can celebrate that. And this is where you start to build those connections with people. And my desire for you is that you build those connections and engagements, not only in your own groups, but also on your pages. This is the way to build an audience. So for those of you that ever worry about this, how am I going to grow my audience? The true answer is connect with them from where they are. If somebody is looking for a window cleaner and they want clean windows, it's really nice to say, oh my gosh, I'm the best window cleaner in the world and I will give you sparkling windows. But don't you think you'll acknowledge them from where they are when you say, are you now embarrassed every time you open your blinds or your curtains? Your neighbours can't even see in anymore because your windows are so dirty. Are you tired of people walking past and writing or drawing on your windows because they're a bit dusty? Maybe it's time I came along and gave them a bit of a sparkle. So what you've done is you've acknowledged where they are right now. And so many experts go straight to this is what how it can look. And that's an important distinction to be able to talk about your outcome, but not when you're growing your audience. You need to let people know that they're for you. There's a whole other piece of that, which is contained within the visibility vibe system. So it's around being visible. It's around making an impact. It's around being able to share your story. It's around conserving your energy so you're not burning out in the same at the same time. And it's also about not only how you sell the value of what you do, but how you speak about what you do. Whether that is public speaking, whether it's speaking at a network, whether it's articulating what you do. All of that is really important, and you need all elements of those, but not necessarily at the same time in the same piece. So I hope that makes sense. So essentially, people that struggle in with the size of their audience should really start to have a look and really start to focus on connection with their audience, engagement with their audience, connection with your audience, engagement with your audience, and how you can give great service. Sorry, someone just sent me a message and it threw my phone into a right tizzy. So, hey, Gina G says, hi all, hi Jenny, tuned in midway, got a call, have to jump off. No problem. Come back and watch the replay. I'd love you to come and do that. So, hopefully that does make sense. So, size of your audience, again, massive subject. And the last one, and if you've got any questions, I would start typing them in now, because I'm just going to, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to put my hand over the screen, because I'm getting ready to wrap up. So last one is, a lot of people say this, that they don't go, hey Maureen, that they struggle with visibility because they get in their own way. Now, when I'm speaking to somebody about that, I would ask more questions like, describe to me, when you get in your own way, describe to me, give me an example of what you do. So once you can start to get clearer on specifically what it is you're doing, then you can start to uncover it. So for some people, it might be that they make a video, and I get a lot of people saying this, they make a video or make numerous videos that never see the light of day. They just stay on their phone and never go out. So, you know, for those of you that are slightly nervous about video, I do have a 5-day challenge that I actually ran in the group a couple of weeks ago, but I've now kind of automated it for you so that you can start every Monday, because a lot of people say that they get in their own way with being visible by not being consistent. So some of you played the game, you enjoyed it, you loved it, and you swore and you promised that you were going to do it again, and you haven't. And you don't feel ready for the next step of maybe investing in a video course or anything else like that. So what you want to do is just to start getting consistent. If that's you, then what you really would need to do is, I'll put the link down here somewhere, but take advantage of the 5 days to video visibility. You've got your own special Facebook group where you can go in every day and post those videos. Some of you have said, oh my gosh, I've had such a hectic week, I'm not ready, but that's okay, because you can start again every Monday. You just press the start again on Monday piece until you get that consistency and you're doing those 5 videos Monday to Friday. And at a certain point, you will feel so confident, you will start to go and share on your screen. You'll start to get out there, you'll start to post, and you'll start to feel more confident in, speaking to your audience. So it's a really important piece to look at. But you can only do that if you know what is stopping you from going out there and being visible. Maybe you're getting in your own way because you know that you want something bigger and better for yourself. And it's interesting because I had to write a piece for something, a project that I'm working on actually what happens when people decide not to do a specific thing with me. And I talked about, and sometimes I see this playing out. People are like, oh, I can't do it, my kids are too young, I'm going to wait till they go to school. I actually had somebody once tell me, with a 6-year-old, they're waiting until all their kids go to university before they do anything for themselves, which meant that they couldn't run the business that they wanted to. And that's fine, that's their choice, but it meant that they're putting that time on hold. What was interesting to me was that I recently spoke to somebody who spoke so highly about their mother, how motivational their mother was, how brilliant they were, and how they always encouraged them to do stuff and move forward. But the sad thing was, they felt that their mother could have done a lot more in their life, and they always got the sense growing up that the mum somehow held herself back because she just wanted to take care of the kids, and the kids all wanted to say, you know what, mum, I'm okay. So don't make something else or someone else in your life your excuse to not do something. In fact, make them the very reason to do the thing. So if you've got children, show them what's possible, show them that you can be a great mother, a great father, and you can help to change the world, to spread your message. If you are saying, oh, well, I can't do stuff because it's too far to travel, it might be that you put a fund together so that when these things come up, you've got a little bit of a pocket or a jar. I've got jars. In fact, just off screen here, I've got jars, one for travel. I've got one that helps me to do my business development and my personal development. I should say the personal development of my business, and one which energizes me. It's basically where I save or put some money aside so that I can do whatever I want. If someone says, do you want to go zip lining, and I fancy it, I'm like, yeah. And if I don't have that cash to hand, I've got it there that I can go and do something great with. And I do that because I never want the excuse or the reason for not doing something to be around money, especially when I have a business. I remember when I worked in financial services, I got paid really handsomely for that role. But if I wanted an extra £2,000 or £3,000, I couldn't just rock up to work and say, right, I'm going to stay and work for the next 48 hours, pay me some extra money. Whereas in your business, you can totally do that. You get your systems and everything in process. And if you need a lump sum of money to do something with, then you can work towards it. And if you're not ready for it, or you don't fancy doing it, then that's also your choice. It just means that you are able to have more freedom, are able to be more flexible, are able to do more with the stuff that you want. So I hope that makes sense. So why are you getting in your own way when it comes to being visible? Now, I'd love you to share in the comments below, but if you don't want to share here, then go to the top of this page, click on visit group. You'll be asked 3 questions if you're not in that group, 3 really easy questions, and then go in and jump in and join the Visibility Vibes tribe, or the Vibers, as I like to call them. They are the most juiciest, yummiest people on the planet. And quite frankly, I think you're just about to find the softest place to land in Facebook. So go in and just, ask your questions in there, put your comments in there. Let us know why you should absolutely be visible, and if there's something that you're worried about, you get the chance to answer it as you enter the group. No one sees it apart from me, so and nobody else looks after the group at the moment. So do go in there, do play full out. So that's it for now. Size of the audience, getting in your own way, and mindset. Just 3 of the things that tend to stop people from going out and being visible. Just seen a question from France Lise. To grow your audience, you need to connect with people on your page so that they can go into your group or in. Let me see if I can read the rest of that. Oh, okay, yes. To grow your audience, will you connect with people on your page so that they can go onto your group or in your group and refer them to your page? Well, France Lise, that's a cracking question. I've done both. So when I first started and made the decision I wanted to grow my group, I focused on my group because they were the people, even though it was a small number of people, they were the people that had committed and said yes. And at the time there were no questions, but they spent a lot of time in there. So I put my time and focus in there. Then I switched because I wanted to make sure that the page was something that people can see. Now, I would say the best thing to do is to start with your page, because your page is the public area that everybody can see. And when your page is the place that everybody can see, if you're doing something like a video, like a Facebook Live, like a post, there should be a couple of posts on your page that let people know about your group. I tend to do so many Facebook Lives, I will just verbally say, go to the top of the box here, visit the group, and go and join. And I will tell them why, because it's seriously the softest and juiciest place to land. Plus, I didn't tell you that if you go there, not only do you get lots of tips about being visible and stuff from me, but actually you're surrounded by other people that have got so many different areas of expertise, you know, health and well-being, money, relationships, coaching, consulting, you know, web design. You name it, there are people in there. There are even people that will help you to create a more high-end package in your business. And of course, I will help you to be visible, or to make that work visible to the people that you want to put it in front of. So I would focus on your page. Keep consistent on your page. If consistency for you means that you can commit to doing something once a week, then so be it. Do that thing once a week and do it well. If you're doing it once a week, be sure to tell people about it, and be sure to tell people in the group about it, but be consistent. And as you do that thing on your page, you'll know that it starts to grow. And it's funny because I'm just putting the final touches on the year-long program that I'll be launching personally in October. So on that year-long program, I've had to map out what are good subjects, if you like, to cover on a monthly basis. But the thing that I'm really mindful of is that sometimes in a program people can go really hard into something, and before they know it, they're coming off every call stuffing their face with information and not having much time for accountability or to implement it. So I need a drink of water, don't I? So they're not having that time to do it. So the year-long program, I really want to make sure is a juicy blend of some information and places where people can absorb that information, as well as having the space to move it forward, but as well as having the guidance, because once you start getting consistent on your one post on your Facebook page, you'll want to know, do I increase it to 5? Do I increase it to 6? How many times a week do I do it? You'll want to know what's the balance of selling stuff or offering my services and giving information. You'll want to know how much more information should I give? Who should I make it visible to? It could be that if you're France Leads, you're thinking, well, should I put so much information on there that somebody could try and take all of my property, you know, my intellectual property? Or she might be thinking, well, you know, if I talk about osteopathy, I'm not allowed to talk about this thing. All of those things are a journey. And if I can help you do it step by step, then it means that you can build it gracefully, build it without burning out, build it around a family, build it around travel, build it around holidays, have a holiday, have it, you know, have systems and stuff in place to work for you. So that's kind of the intention to that. So the thing is, go step by step by step is really what I'm saying. So I got on a rant there. I'm so excited about the program. It's sexy. I've just scrolled back. That's it. Celeste says, I think I've asked about this. Do you share very private stuff, Jenny? How much should one share? Okay, so great question. And again, as I wrap up, here's my slant on that. I think you should share stuff about yourself that's personal. There's a difference between private and personal in a way. Share stuff about yourself that is personal, because it lets people know that you've got a personality. So I would tell people that, you know, I'm quite sad that I've just got this one plant here in this office, because actually I'm quite green-fingered and it all happened by accident. And I will tell you the story of how that happened by accident. But, you know, if me telling you that I'm green-fingered is just me flapping my gums, it might not be much use to you or people that haven't met you yet as your audience member. So do share stuff that is more personal to you, but sometimes there's stuff that's private. Sometimes you might be processing something which will be useful to your audience later. Like, imagine, Celeste, if you started putting information out and then somebody tried to take your intellectual property. Well, you might not want to jump straight on a video and talk about it because you might be in tears about it. I know the first time it happened to me, I was really distraught. You would have thought that something horrific had happened in my family. First of all, I was just shocked, speechless. Then I was distraught. Then I was very tearful. And then I was angry. No one's going to do that again. Now, as I was going through those changes, which all happened within a space of 24 hours and beyond, if I'd come on here crying and wailing, you know, and then shouting and being angry, is that going to serve my audience? So always start with the end in mind. Why are you doing something? What benefit is it going to give your audience? You know, telling them about your pet or showing them your pets and things like that is a lovely way to show that you know, you've got a personal life and there's other things you do other than your work. But when it comes to privacy, there are certain things that's like too much information. And here's what I believe. You don't need to use your audience as your therapist, as your counsellor, as your sounding board, as your coach. You know, for that, you will go and engage somebody that can help with those sorts of things. Hope that makes sense. Hope that answers a question. But always start with the end in mind. A bit like with the group or the page or putting the stuff out there. Why are you doing this? How is it going to serve your audience? That's what I would say. Hope that helps. I'm going off now. I've got some stuff to do. I've got a call with my own mastermind group tonight, which I'm very excited about. So thank you so much for watching. Please don't keep me a secret. If you haven't booked your ticket yet for Time to Shine, or you know of other people that haven't yet, do invite them, let them know why. If you could invite them to the event on this page, because I have a limit of people that I can invite, I would love you to do that. You know, let them know why you're going, even put in the group and in the event, and let them know why you said yes to yourself for going. And the other thing I would ask you to do is to share this, because if somebody is just starting a business, thinking of starting a business, or even quite a bit further down in their business, there will be pockets of this where they want to change the size of their audience to bigger. They might be getting in their own way because now they've got over 10,000 people. Now they're getting scared. It might be that their mindset needs to shift because they kind of prepared themselves for a certain journey and now they need more. So I'd love you to share it on your timeline or anywhere else where you're allowed to. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to those of you who popped on. I'm saying a massive hello to you. And the next time I'll see you live on this page will be on Monday morning at 7 AM for the Monday Motivation. Although I'm tinkering with the idea of doing a little something on here on Saturday morning. So if you'd like to know what that is, a few people are asking me questions about the event, Time to Shine. Are they right for it and stuff like that? So I'll share all of that too, but I'll also give you some nuggets so you know what to expect. But expect a really great immersive experience. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Ivona. Thank you, Celeste. Thanks, Faye. Thanks, Ivona. Thank you for everyone that was watching. Lots of love to you. Bye for now.